Alright, hello everybody. So today's video is more of the making of or my origins type of thing. So I'm sitting here in the city I was born in, and the whole story, the earliest I can remember is pretty much around here. This is on the riverside. Um, I grew up in this little apartment complex right in there, inside the courtyard. That's where our apartment was, and yeah, we used to come out here all the time and play and get in trouble. Um, I'm not sure how to. People are kind of looking goofy at anybody that has any kind of video equipment. But anyway, so this is the bridge, and there's the Somish River right down here. These trees grew up a lot since last time I was around here. But we used to come here all the time and actually make little houses in uh, in these trees. Uh, Technically, we're not supposed to leave the courtyard when we're outside playing, but we snuck out and we used to come here and do it anyway. Uh, but yeah, so this was the place we hung out. We played a lot of soccer and other games, of course. But the main thing was always in the courtyard. Uh, you'll see in the drone, I'm gonna fly my drone here just above this whole thing. And you'll see right now there's like parking lot and all that kind of crap. Where back in the days, it used to be a little playground, and there was not one blade of grass because we would play so much soccer and there were so many kids. There was no chance for anything to grow. But so this neighborhood here was built kind of in the early 70s to about 1980 or something like that. I know when we moved here with my family, I was maybe 2 years old. So that would be like the 1978ish, and there are still buildings here that were not done. Like those tall ones were not constructed at that time yet. They were built after we moved here. So before that, there was only just pretty much houses back here, and all of it was because in the communism, they they took everybody's land away, and they moved a lot of people from the villages to the city. And when they opened these big factories and whatnot, then people would move to the city and work in the factories. And of course, for that to happen, they had to build buildings where these people would live. So a lot of the older folks stayed in the villages, but their land was taken away. And they ended up working their own land in these collectives, they call them. And all the crops were actually given to the government. So, yeah, everything was collective because the communism, that's how it works. So then the young folks moved to the city and started their own families, and they were working in these factories. But on the weekends, they would still go back home because they were allowed to keep their houses and a little chunk of land where just enough to maybe grow a crop of corn or something that would feed some chickens and some pigs. So then, of course, the old folks would stay there and do that, and then the kids would come and help on the weekends and come home with some eggs and some meat and whatnot from the countryside. Because especially in the late days of communism, there was like pretty much nothing to find in stores. Everything was sold to the outside, was exported. So an average person could not just go to the store and buy some meat or buy I remember even sugar and oil and flour, everything was portioned. So depending on how many people you had in your family, you had a piece of paper, and every month you went and got your portion for the month of sugar and oil and even butter. So yeah, not a good time. But that's how this neighborhood was built. Pretty much all the old houses that were here at one time were demolished, and these neighborhoods were built. The city of Satu Mare is actually made of, it's kind of like a twin city type of situation where the river kind of divides the city in two. So the other side of the river is where we have all the administrative buildings and all the old school buildings. That was the big part of it. And on this side used to be only little houses and whatnot, so now big neighborhoods. So let me see if I can zoom in to our apartment. Won't let me. Yeah, it doesn't work. But we used to live right up there. Up there. That's our apartment over there. So yeah, after we moved here, of course, in each neighborhood, because all the young folks and all their young little kids, they had to build schools. So actually, this whole neighborhood, this is neighborhood number 16. I'm not sure why, because I know we have 14, 15, and 16, and then 17. I think it kind of went by when they were built. But I'm not sure why they started with number 14, because there's no number 1 to 13. But so this is number 16, and in this, I'm not even sure what you call it, because it's number 16. What I know the neighborhood. We call it a micro or a micro 16, kind of like a micro city maybe, which actually kind of makes sense, because so we have 2 schools, we have like 4 little, I don't know what you call them, probably kindergartens. Yeah, kindergartens. And we even have 4 daycares. So the way it worked, the kids would go from when they were born. Of course, parents had to go to work. There's no such thing as staying home with your kid for a long time. So they had to go to daycare. And then when they got so old, you go to kindergarten, and then you went to school. And and all of them are pretty much side by side here. That's how they built out this whole neighborhood. It was planned that way. So this is our building here. And from there, you I just had to walk to school. Since I was pretty much first grade, everybody just walked to school. And when we were done with school, we used to have a key around our neck for the apartment. And supposed to just go home, have a snack, do your schoolwork, all that stuff before your parents came home. Everybody had that. It wasn't just me. It's just how it worked back in those days. They actually called the generation with the key around their necks. So yeah, this is where we'd walk to school from there. And school was just pretty much right here. And we spent a lot of time playing soccer over here too. But now, in the last, I don't know how many years, they actually built a gym. We did not have a gym. We would just pretty much exercise outside, which was okay. But yeah, this is a big gym they built over here. This wasn't here when I was in school. This was all open. Good for these kids anyway. I remember playing outside in the snow and on ice, and it was just fine. A lot of times I had frozen feet from playing soccer too long outside. And it hurts when you kick a soccer ball with frozen feet, but I'll pay for it with arthritis one of these days. So yeah, there is a school. So walk from home pretty much to school right there. Not far at all. And I'll show you where the kindergarten was and the daycare thing. And he was all pretty much paid. I believe he was paid by the government. I could be wrong. I'm not sure if my parents had to pay for any of it, because that's just kind of how it worked in communism. Yeah, so this is the school. The same old fence, like this fence. Yeah, this was here when I was in school, some 40 years ago. But looks like they put new windows on the place, which is cool. But yeah, before the school. So this is how they built it. Was this school, and there's one way on the other side of this micro city thingy. So two of them were enough, I guess, for all the kids. I'm used to, like in my class, they went from like first grade, they had A, B, C, D. I think we had up to H. They were all the same age kids. And then that building over there, right across the road, is the first two levels of the building were kindergarten. So you want in over there, that one level was kindergarten, and the next level was another level of it. There's another one just like this building, just across the way over there. But that's just how it worked. That's how it was planned out when they built this whole micro city. So yes, and the daycare facility when kids were super babies is pretty much just right next to that. So we went from one to the next and then to school. So this was until, I'm not even sure how old I was when my parents separated. Then I ended up going and staying with my grandma. I still went to this school, but I would have to walk. I would say probably about a 20-minute walk to get to my grandma's place. And yeah, I can show you that one next. I'm not gonna film the whole walk over there. But yeah, just walking down the streets as little kids. And yeah, this was the child care facility. The whole bottom of this, and on the back side was that. And then the other side, there were the stores. So they had specialized stores, meat store, we had the bread store, and then we had also kind of like supermarket, but it was like hardly anything in it. So this side is where they had all the stores. I'm not sure what they're at now, but they all had to have a special profile because that's how the neighborhood was built, to make sure that all areas have a bread store and all that stuff. So we really well planned out, I guess. Yeah. So next I'm gonna go over to where my grandma used to live, kind of show you that neighborhood too. It's like the newer parts of the city were always, the better people had the newer apartment buildings and whatnot. That's just kind of how it went. This one is, like I said, it was micro 16. Grandma lived in micro 14, which was older, and a lot of those buildings were built after a big flood that happened here in 1970. And a lot of people lost their houses, and it was a lot of damage. So then the government just put up these buildings like really quick. They were all pretty much cookie cutter buildings, and small. But that's where grandma lived, and that's where I moved after my parents separated and they sold that apartment. So, man, it's been a long time. I remember when they were building this thing, this big building. It's actually cool. It has like a restaurant above it and whatnot, but it was a big pile of dirt from digging the foundation for this thing. And we used to call that our mountain. And we got into quite a few fights with some other gangs to defend the freaking mountain. And I know at one time I hurt the kid pretty bad, and I ended up being called out in front of the whole school. So because that's how it worked back in those days. So I was a naughty boy. Okay, well, let's go over to grandma's. All right, so here we are. This pink building over here is where my grandma used to live, and I used to live with my grandma and my aunties. Uh, we lived in the second door over there. So from here is where I had to go to school back over there until I graduated 8th grade. And after 8th grade, of course, we had to go to high school. Um, so for the first 8 years, you pretty much in the same class with the same kids and same everything. This is kind of what it looks like in the backyard here. And then when you go to high school, you get to pick kind of like a profile of what you want to do when you grow up, so to speak. And I was into machining and yeah, the type of industrial type of thing. I just wanted to go to school and graduate and have a job. So that's what I did. And that was pretty much downtown. So then from there, I had to walk all the way downtown. But while I was still in general school, I had to walk through here, through farmers market, and just all the way back to school, which is about, I don't know, 15-20 minute walk. So it wasn't too bad, but being a little kid walking down the street, I guess it could be strange for certain people. But that's just what we did, and that's what they still do today, actually. Nothing really changed as far as that goes. I know on the countryside they finally have school buses when they didn't back in those days. Let's walk to the market. It's pretty cool. There's a bunch of plants. Suppose it's a garden plant season. Makes sense. Let's go this way. Place got fixed up a little bit, but still looks like crap. Freaking tarps and stuff all over the place. But you can pretty much find whatever. This is pretty cool. So it's Saturday, Saturday before Easter. Like tonight, it's Easter Eve, so everybody's doing their last preparations. Yeah, there you go. Walk through the market and just down the street. I'm not gonna walk all the way back to the school, but you get the gist of it. So when I leave to your grandma's, I'm gonna walk back there. When I lived to your grandma's, I had a lot of friends, and a lot of them were gypsies, which was actually pretty cool. They were pretty cool dudes, but it's just a little bit different because they really band together. So now I was kind of part of the gang too, since we kind of grew up together here. So yeah, I remember coming over here and sometimes helping out unloading watermelon or whatnot, and getting paid in watermelon or in fruit or whatever we were helping with. Oh, it's hot, man. I think it's like 75 out. But this sun is just strong. So I think the next one I'm gonna go downtown and kind of show you where my high school was. So that's gonna be the next stop. Man, this thing wasn't here when I grew up. They built this for all these merchants. Cool. All right, well, I walk back to the car and we're gonna go downtown. Actually, I just remembered I was gonna mention this. All these buildings, like I said, they were built after the flood. Most of those, like the one in front of me, those ones, and you'll see in the drone footage, they just pretty much lined up like freaking dominoes. There was nothing out here. It was pretty much just open fields when they build these buildings. So the same thing when they had, this is micro 14, when they build these, yeah, they just designed it the way they wanted. Actually, this building next to us used to be where all the heating and the hot water came from. It's all piped underground to each of the buildings, and so the government controlled when you had hot water, when you had heat. That was pretty much the only source of heat. So I remember a lot of times that'd be months and months before we actually had running hot water, because the system wasn't that great. So it would always break down. There was always pipe leaks, and yeah. So yeah, good times. we are, downtown. They they just opened up this the old downtown to the public after doing a bunch of renovations. So yeah, there used to be traffic all around it, and now it's all shut down, and it's only for I guess only on the weekends there's no traffic at all as far as vehicles go, but during the week buses can still go through part of it. It's kind of cool. We'll walk through it. I gotta go find some water, man. I'm thirsty. Yeah, so that didn't used to be there. So somehow I think some couple of those actually go down into the ground during like morning delivery hours. So it's pretty cool. Some old historic buildings. They usually have terraces set up out here, but since it just opened, they didn't have the chance to set them all up yet. But this is usually the place to be, downtown, just sitting down, people watching, have a coffee, have a beer. Even the pigeons are chillaxed over here. All right. It's nice not to have the cars around, for sure. Used to be all the young punks that had the fast cars would come around and just do circles and circles around here. Oh, it's nice. So this is used to be the symbol of the city. Obviously, but in really disrepair. So finally now, after sitting for many years, they decided to finally fix it up, and it's gonna be a hotel. It used to be a hotel back in the day too, but somehow a private person ended up with it, and they just didn't spend or invest the money to fix it up the way it should be. So it just sat there in disrepair. That cathedral in the background there, that's actually the church where I was baptized. That's Catholic Cathedral. We'll walk in there in a little bit. It's pretty cool. I think this is gonna be a nice place to launch the drone from. All right, let's do it. All right, that was cool. Go find some water. So yeah, pretty much this is downtown. And no, actually I should walk to the church. We can look inside and see what it looks like. If it's open, usually it's open. And then from there, I think I'm gonna walk to show you guys where my high school was. And so this is old downtown, they call it. And there's also a new downtown. It's just more, this is all historic old buildings. The new downtown is actually made out of gray concrete stuff. Still kind of looks okay, but that was built during the communism where the leader of the city wanted to show, the power and what they can do. And I believe they demolished a few old buildings to make it happen. So yeah, we'll see it. But I want to go into, looks like the church is open. Just a quick look in there. This is, like I said, the Roman Catholic Cathedral. This was redone not too long ago. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not sure I don't remember what the meaning of the building is anymore. Gotta take my hat off in here. It's pretty pretty. I'm staying quiet. And they have a cool organ up there. I remember hearing that thing play. It's super nice. kind of cool in here. It's a nice place to be, but cool out from the heat. Not sure what that is. What saint? All right. Time to go see the school. So when I went to school, like I said, I went to school. It's kind of like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a vocational school. Um, I was going to school to be a machinist and other metal fabrication type of situation. And each school, like my school, did that, but it was also associated with one of the big factories in town. Because, like I said, the way the communist system was set up, you pretty much were set up from when you were born with daycare, kindergarten, school, high school, and then straight to the workforce. So then each factory would kind of sponsor or be in charge of one of the schools. So that way, if I went to that school when I graduate, I'm pretty much guaranteed that I'm gonna have a place to work. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. So this is the only place of downtown that cars are actually allowed. Hey, ambulance. And so yeah, I was supposed to go and work at a factory where they manufactured all kinds of mining equipment, like little trains and carts and stuff like that, or any equipment that has to do with mining. But closer to the end of my adventures in this school, I transferred to a different school. Same profile, they were doing the same thing, but that school was associated with a factory that was manufacturing car parts. So I ended up working as a machinist in a factory making car parts. I was mostly working on brakes and braking components for vehicles. But that was only for that I went to that school only for like a few months, but right at the end of my school career. So this is where my school starts, pretty much up above here. They redid the whole thing, so it's pretty nice. And this is what's the weekend now. It's Saturday, but usually around here there's a bunch of buses lined up here to go throughout the whole city. So at times I would take the bus, but most of the time I would just walk home from here. You have to walk and cross a bridge, and because we lived on the other side of the city, over the bridge. So, but it was, once you do it all the time, doesn't really feel that big of a deal. So yeah, of course, in the courtyard of this school, there's a soccer little soccer field, and I think there was like 2 tennis courts and stuff like that. I'm not gonna fly my drone here because right there is the police station. So far, I haven't been questioned or nothing like that. But the drone regulations in this country and in Europe are a lot more stringent than the U.S. So I just wanted to show you the school. This is the entrance. There's a cool statue. Now, these days, it belongs to the Catholic Church. So it's a Catholic high school. I believe it's Catholic, but it's a Hungarian high school. Let's see what it says here. So this is a historic monument. There you go. (1916). I know during the communism, the Catholic Church lost quite a few buildings, but a lot of things around town here were constructed by the church. So yeah, when I went to school here, this didn't belong to the church; it belonged to the city, and that's why it was a school. After 1989, when the revolution happened and communism fell, the church was able to regain their properties. So there's actually quite a few around town that they got back. Yeah, see, that's a Roman Catholic. Huh. Roman Catholic high school. So, yeah, even a lot of the people, like I was saying in the beginning, government took everything away. So then even the farmers that at one time owned all their land out in the country, they got all the land back. But by that time, either they were too old to work it, or they were dead, or the kids that they had ended up moving to the city and had a life and didn't want to go back to the countryside. So that was, and still is, a lot of land that it's not worked like it could be. And there are a lot of abandoned villages because, like I said, everybody moved either to town or they left the country because of the communism. So then the elderly just passed away and the houses just are there because nobody wants them. Nobody wants to move back there. Except there's quite a few foreigners now that are discovering Romania and how nice it is. And, well, the price of living is actually not that bad. So with the retirement from a different country, even around Europe, a lot of them move to Romania in retirement. And then actually Prince Charles, now King Charles, owns a few houses in certain parts of Transylvania too, because he wanted to make sure they got saved and restored. And I think every year, at least one time, he comes and spends time over there because he loves it so much. So there's a little nugget for you. Whew, this is a lot of walking, man. So I gotta get something to drink. Then we're gonna walk over to the new downtown, or the communist version of downtown. But I gotta get some water first. All right, entering new downtown. Actually, they kind of made it cool because they have like a bicycle path and stuff like that. It's been redone recently also. I think the pavement, the rocks are redone. It's not like it used to be 5 years ago. And they have a little Easter market going on also. Oh. All kinds of cool stuff. I suppose you have to have nice shoes for Easter. Otherwise, I'm not sure why shoes are in the Easter market. Rocks, jewelry. There are not that many people out. Suppose everybody's getting ready for Easter. Huh. School. That's a bank now. It used to be where the telephone company was. There's only one telephone company in the whole city. It was of course owned by the government. But this is where we came to pay our bills, and now it's a bank. Of course, everything else is private, so the government doesn't own it anymore. This was the store back in the day. It was the only one you can find pretty much everything from furniture and everything else. My uncle actually used to work there. He was managing one of the departments. These are cool. Eggs with flowers in them. Eastery looking and feeling. Tempting. It's tempting. It's really hot out. I think I want to fly the drone one more time just for this downtown area. Cool. Let's do it. Well, I'm not sure how that's gonna turn out. I must think that either the drone remote or the phone was overheated. Um, I'll try to piece something together. Uh, yeah, so this is downtown, the new quote unquote downtown. And that building there used to be kind of like an event center. Like if any bands or comedians or somebody came to town, that's where it was held. Not sure these days what they're using it for. And of course, yeah, this building at one point, or maybe still is, the tallest building in this country. And like I said, it was meant to be one of the big accomplishments of one of the communist leaders in the city. And that little bridge over there is just, I don't think it's even open to the public yet. They just put that in. A few years ago, they finally opened a mall, because there's no respectable city without a mall. And then now the part of the deal was with the mall that they would construct a pedestrian bridge over the river also, so they have access to the mall straight from downtown. So I just want to look at it quick just to see. But I know these stairs, they were working on fixing these up too. I'm not sure if they got them all done yet or not. But yeah, actually from here, we're almost back to where we started. We just run a little tour around town because here we are. Yeah, so there's a pedestrian bridge, and across from that, where that Ferris wheel is, that's where the mall is. And this needs to be fixed up, obviously. Looks pretty crappy. And there's the river. So where we started this video, where I said I grew up, is actually right over there, across, just next to that other bridge. That's where we started filming. So here we go. We came full circle, so to speak. So yeah, this is what I can remember. I'm sure after I post this video, I'm gonna have more things that I think about that I should have said or I should have included. But for you guys at home, I wanted to do this so you kind of see where I grew up and kind of what my background is. So there you have it. If you have any questions, just ask. See you guys in the next one.